The United States and Cuba have taken a large step towards the reestablishment of former relations. Our correspondent now, Bianca Perez, with the details in Washington.
President of the United States, Barack Obama, announced Wednesday that his country and Cuba have solidified a deal to open embassies in each other's capitals. This grand step, which will help normalize relations between the two nations, comes after half a decade of isolation from the U.S. towards the island nation.
For the United States, that meant clinging to a policy that was not working. Instead of supporting democracy and opportunity for the Cuban people, our efforts to isolate Cuba, despite good intentions, increasingly had the opposite effect.
While both countries prepare themselves for the opening of the embassies, there are still many topics that need to be discussed and issues that need to be resolved in order to obtain full normalized relations, such as the closure of Guantanamo Bay and the end of the embargo.
So there are a whole series of steps, things that we need to do to further normalize relations. But it's much easier to do once you have an embassy and you can have a full dialogue.
While a large majority sees this as a way to move forward, Republicans like Speaker of the House John Boehner see this as a mistake, citing that relations should not be normalized until all Cuban people enjoy their freedom. Despite the negative statements, President Obama sees this as a gateway that will eventually lead to lifting the embargo that is currently in place.
And I've called on Congress to take steps to lift the embargo that prevents Americans from traveling or doing business in Cuba. We've already seen members from both parties begin that work. After all, why should Washington stand in the way of our own people?
Though this has been a grand step for the foreign relations of both countries, the truly monumental day will be on July 20th, when the Cuban flag is raised here, just a few blocks away from the White House. Bianca Perez, Telesur, Washington, D.C.